Hi, everyone. Welcome back once again to Picard Cast. This evening, I'm your host, Rebecca. I am joined, as always, by my lovely co-host, Brooke. Welcome back, Brooke.
Hi! And sorry if you hear my dog barking in the background.
Oh, well, we love Carol, and that's fine. And I'm sure at some point you'll hear my dog, Clark, barking in the background because he's very loud. And that's okay. Brooke, can you believe that we are at the last episode of the season that we are covering? Oh my goodness.
I know.
This is it.
It's pretty crazy. When I was watching this the other night, Cindy came in and she was like, "So what is this, like the end of a season or the end of the whole thing, or what is it?" I go, all of the above.
Yeah, tonight we are covering the series finale of Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is, of course, in our road to get you ready for the Picard series. Tonight we are covering All Good Things, and we are not alone. We are joined by probably geographically our furthest guest that we've had, which is pretty exciting. All the way from the United Kingdom, we are joined by the lovely Kat Kirby. Welcome, Kat, to Picardcast.
Hi, girls. Good to be here. I've been dying to do this, so I'm so excited to join you both, and especially on the last one. I think that's quite a special episode to be on. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for doing this. So yeah, we had to plan this out a bit because of time differences, of course. Both Brooke and I are on the East Coast of the United States, and Kat, of course, is all the way across the Atlantic in Britain. So yeah, this is great. So Kat, definitely we'd love to know, can you tell everybody your connection to Star Trek? How did you get started watching Trek?
I remember the original series when I was a child. I was born in sort of nearly the mid-70s, but I remember them being rerun on TV. And I wasn't really into it, if I'm honest, not the first original season. I mean, I can remember certain episodes that stick out in my mind, like the Joan Crawford episode, and the Tribble episode was always great. And then the standard, fight that Kirk always had when he's on that rock, rock formation that goes off at an angle, the really famous one. And I've got to go there one day. I'm absolutely dying to go there one day. And that sort of stuck out in my head. But for me, the beginning of my love for Star Trek was actually with the original films. Not the first one. I was sort of too young for that one, but the second one onwards, my sister took me to the cinema to see it, and I was just hooked with the characters. They're all sort of pretty iconic, those original films. And it sort of grew from there. Then it was TNG, it was Deep Space Nine, Voyager. Didn't so much get into Enterprise. That's been a fairly recent series that we've started to look at. And the reason for that was when they originally released it. When was it? It was about, God, how many years ago was it? It's good, maybe 15 years ago.
That sounds about right.
Or longer. No, it's probably good. Is it longer than that? 20 years ago? I don't know. How long ago was Enterprise?
How long ago was Enterprise? That's a good question. I'm not really sure. I'll look it up though.
Yeah, I'm trying to look out myself here. Anyway, the thing that put me off the most about it was the fact of the music, because it was this cowboy sort of song. It just really threw me. I was expecting, all the Star Trek music has always had this amazing composed music, this orchestra sort of led music, and just to have this actual singing actually threw me off. And I was like, that's not proper Star Trek. Yeah. I'm not watching that. And I just I was being an absolute snob at the time. It was stupid. Well, so it sort of put me off it. But then, I just carried on with the films, and I mean, the characters. I love the fact that we've got an English actor, obviously Picard,
Sure.
Patrick Stewart. I mean, the man could read me a bedtime story. I mean, that voice is incredible.
So just to give a little context, Star Trek Enterprise ran from 2001 to 2005.
There we go.
So it started about.
So it is nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah, it started 18 years ago, went off the air about 14 years ago. There are people, including me, who say that this is the series that killed Star Trek. I know that not everybody feels that way. Previous guest, Mark, loves this show, loves this iteration of Enterprise. So, yeah, I know that
I'm halfway through it now. I'm halfway through it now for the first time. And it's okay. There's been some really good episodes. And I love Scott Bakula. The cast is good. It's not as great as the other series, though. I've got to be honest. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the storytelling in this particular. The stories aren't as good. I don't know. I think the acting's not as great either. If I'm honest, It's all right.
Brooke, did you ever watch Star Trek Enterprise at all?
No.
Yeah. 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 Again, it's like an okay series for me also. So. I should probably try to revisit. I've tried to revisit it. I'll try again because it is Trek, and we'll try. But talking about this episode, All Good Things, why did you pick this episode, Kat?
It's got one of my favourite all-time characters in it, Q. John Delancey. I just love him. He's so funny, and he's just one of my absolute favourites. So, I mean, I know sort of you can sort of get groups of Star Trek TNG episodes that you like, and you can sort of whittle them down into categories of the Borg episodes. For me, it's the Q episodes especially, and that's why I've chosen this one. I do like a good time paradox as well, but yeah, it was John Delancey. I think that was the kicker for me.
Yeah, I have to agree. I always enjoy a Q episode. Even I always loved how Q did show up in other iterations of Star Trek. So it was fun to see him interact with like Benjamin Sisko, and then of course Captain Janeway and all that. So yeah, great to see. Great character actor John Delancey. He worked like all through the 70s and 80s as like a character actor on every show on the planet. Just showing up for like a guest spot, and then he got this role. And not to say like this is like his like his swan song or anything, but like it certainly is the role that a lot of people remember him from.
But I think he had a lot of fun doing it. I think that really it comes out in his performance. I really do. I think they had a lot of fun doing it, and anything I've read about him, it seems to reiterate that he loved doing it.
Yeah, there's if you're on Twitter, the Star Trek Twitter account, Star Trek, it's just at Star Trek. They actually have an interview up, or not an interview, like a little featurette that they've done with John Delancey, talking about his role as Q. And they filmed it this year. So, and he definitely talks about the role with a lot of fondness. He had a blast. According to him, he had a great time playing this character. I don't know, like, we usually ask this at the end, but I mean, do you think Q will show up in Picard?
This is what I'm hoping. And I was trying to leave this answer for the end of it. But yeah, I know. And this is exactly what I was going to say. I really hope that he's going to show up in the new season of Picard, because I just think he has to. I would have thought it's a definite given that some of the other characters would as well, but I'm really hoping that he can turn up. And I was talking to Matt about this, and I was saying, well, there's the whole age thing, because he's obviously I can't talk tonight. He's this eternal being, so he wouldn't technically age, but because he loves taking the piss out of Picard all the time, he would probably show up as an old man to match Picard. Mm-hmm. Just like he used to be wearing the same uniform Picard was as well, so they could probably get away with it in that regard.
I had the same thought. Like, if they did decide to have John Delancey come in as Q in an episode, I think they would absolutely have him just being himself as he is today in 2019. And then if Picard says something, which of course you were like, what, you don't age, Q. Oh, I decided to throw this on just to make you, so you
Make
wouldn't
you feel better.
Yeah.
No, listen, Q would probably make himself look really, like, a lot older. To be like, oh, I was just trying to be the same age as you are. And then it's like, why does he look like he's 104?
Yeah. It's true. He would.
They could do the whole CGI route. I mean, look what they did for Marvel with Kirk Douglas as Mike Douglas. Look how incredible he looked. But I can't see that they'd be wanting to spend the same sort of money for a TV episode as that.
We'll
so it's just easier to make him old.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, if they wanted to, I'm sure they could de-age him a little bit. But I kind of have a feeling that they're going to go like what Brooke is saying, that he'll show up really old and be like, oh, I'm just trying to look as old as you. What, you're not 800 years old? What? But I can't disagree. I would love to see Q in a Picard episode, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But so we are going to dive right in to All Good Things. If you're watching this on Netflix, it is billed as All Good Things Parts 1 and 2 together. And I think in some places they might separate it. I'm not sure. But as I recall, when it first aired, it was one long episode. So even though it's called Parts 1 and 2, it's really just one part. But this episode, All Good Things, first aired on May 23rd, 1994. This was written by Ronald D. Moore and Brannon Braga, two longtime collaborators with Star Trek, along with also Renee Echevarria and Naren Shankar. It was directed by Winrich Colby, who directed a lot of episodes of TNG over the years. And, of course, stars our regular cast members, along with, of course, John Delancey as Q. So we're going to dive, as I said, right in. We open up the very first scene here. Troy and Worf, they've been on a date. They're leaving the holodeck. They are kind of talking about their date, and Worf, it basically tells Troy that he's like worried about how Commander Riker is going to react to their relationship. And Troy's like, fuck that guy. Let's just work. Oh, sorry. F that guy. We're supposed to keep it clean. Let's focus on us. They're about to kiss. Picard shows up in like the craziest dressing gown. This thing
I hate that dressing gown.
It's a ball gown. What is he wearing to bed? I mean,
it doesn't leave much to the imagination, does it?
Earlier in the series, he's got like green silky pajamas that are short shorts.
Yeah,
yeah, that's great. Anyway, sorry.
It's a bit much. I mean, it's a bit much. I mean, he's kind of extra, but you know what? He's Picard. Let him be extra, right? He demands to know the date. What's the star date? And Worf tells him it's 47988, which, if you're playing along at home, is Thursday, October 8th, 2370. And he's like, 47988, like something's not adding up here. He tells them that he is shifting back and forth through time. Okay, there's our setup for the episode. So next scene is we have Picard and Troy in her quarters. She's serving him some tea, and she is basically, he's trying to describe what's happening to him. He compares it to like a dream that he remembers being in the past